Um, so I'm 16 years old, and I'm at home, and my buddy Mark is over, and we're bored. And that's not a good thing if you're 16 and bored, because 16-year-olds are almost entirely stupid. And 16-year-olds, when they're bored, don't like to be bored, so they'll do any number of things to not be bored. So we're sitting down and we're watching TV, and there's some crappy TV show on or some movie. And we're there, and Mark gets up and silently leaves the room and returns a minute or two later with a paintball gun. And this is like Chekhov's paintball gun. And he looks at me and says very seriously, "Let's go shoot cars." And I'm 16 years old, and so I lack the wherewithal to actually say, that's a bad idea. So I just say, okay. And so we go out in my backyard, and Mark very seriously drags, he was a serious guy, everything was serious, so he seriously drags a chair over to the fence. And he stands on the chair and he takes a paintball gun, and he drapes his arm over the fence, and he waits for cars to pass by. And he shoots at the cars as they go by. And I'm standing there, and I know this is a bad idea. I know this is a bad idea, but I can't say stop, right? So he shoots and he misses, or actually he ends up hitting. And he gives the gun to me, and I get up and I shoot. And I'm hoping every time that I miss, I don't actually know if I hit or not. And we're doing this for a while, and I wind up demoting myself from co-sniper to lookout. Because I don't like what we're doing, but I can't say no. So I go into the front yard, and I'm hiding behind a bush, hoping to like introduce the idea that we could get caught for this and this is awful. And Mark will say, we shouldn't do this. And I can go, yeah, I know, I was thinking the same thing. So I'm there, and nothing bad has happened yet. And the lights are going, well, the lights are going down, the sun's going down, it's getting dark. And I'm thinking we're going to get away with this. And then I hear the unmistakable sound of a large 16-year-old throwing himself to the ground. And I turn around and I see Mark scurrying like a lizard towards my house, away from this, like it was like Sauron's eye, the spotlight, shining, that was so lame, Sauron's eye, shining through the fence to find him. And my eyes widen, and my heart stops, and I watch this large 16-year-old crawl into my house and hide. And I'm looking at the entrance to my neighborhood, and I'm thinking, there's no way. There's no way that a cop is going to turn down that road and come after us. But of course, slowly a patrol car lumbers around the corner, and it comes, and Sauron's eye is peering from front yard to front yard looking for us. So I run inside into my house. And Mark and I, being 16 and therefore intrinsically stupid, decide that what we should do is turn off all the lights, because, because nothing says, no bad kids are in here, quite like a dark house along a line of lit up houses, right? So we turn off all the lights and we run into the basement, and we're now hiding in the basement. And we're down there for a couple of minutes. And by the way, neither one of us is a sociopath. He's an accountant, I'm a teacher. We ended up becoming good people. We were 16. We're in the basement, and we begin to see like flashlights of police officers shining through the little windows that are along the ceiling of my basement. And it becomes very evident that we're busted. And Mark knows it, but I don't. And I am clinging to this hope that there is some like organization of language that can explain the situation, or rather lie, because the situation is that we were shooting at cars. So that's 4 minutes, by the way. So Mark looks at me and he's like, we're busted. And I look at him and I say, no. And I say the most ridiculous and desperate thing I've ever said in my life, which is, take your shirt off. This is my panic reflex. And I begin to take my shirt off, right? And I rip it off, and I'm standing there, and I don't look good without a shirt. I'm like pale and skinny. And he's looking at me and he goes, what? And I said, just take your shirt off. They'll think we were sleeping. Because the police officers would come inside and they would look and see a dark house, and they would follow the trail of evidence that we left behind us. And they would look and they would see that it was actually just two 16-year-olds who were discussing in a dark house in the basement something like, I don't know, social justice. And we were in the basement, and we became sleepy and decided to take our shirts off and fall asleep on the floor. But that's not what happened. What happened was that I had forgotten to close the door because I'm a genius. And they got in. And the door swings open and flashlights shine on our faces. And we both have to go upstairs and explain to two bewildered-looking police officers that two decent kids would actually shoot paintballs at cars, regardless of how dangerous that is. And I would have to explain that entire story with no shirt on. Thank you.